Welcome to MindForge, a unique initiative by Rotaract Club of University of Mora in collaboration with the Interact Club of Ananda College. We are thrilled to have you all join us today for this exciting journey into the world of hackathons. Today's webinar is designed to introduce students to the exciting world of technology, covering the basics of coding. Whether you are new to this or looking to refine your skills, this program is tailored to provide you with the knowledge and resources you need to succeed. So I encourage you to actively engage with our speaker and ask questions. Your curiosity and participation are keys to making the most out of today's program. Now, it's my pleasure to hand over the session to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Lahiru Fernando, a lecturer at the Open University of Sri Lanka and an Oracle certified professional in Java program. Mr. Lahiru brings a wealth of expertise and experience in the field of information technology, and we are privileged to have him guide us through this. Without further ado, let's welcome him to share his valuable insights with us. Over to you, Mr. Lahiru. Sir, your mic is muted.
Okay, thanks. Good evening, students. So, I'm Lahiru Fernando. So, I think this is the second workshop of the series that you have been participating. So, in the first workshop, you started with programming, and in today's workshop, we will go a step further. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, hope you can see my screen, the shared screen. Okay. Today, we will be learning about a few basics in programming called lists, loops, and then if condition. So even though these terms might be quite new to you, while we are doing the session, you will get to know each of them. So programming means telling a computer to do something. So to do that, we can use many programming languages that are available in the computer science world. So one of such languages is Python. I hope you already have heard about this word and you know the word Python. So we will make this session a practical session without going through the slides. So I will code with you, not with you, code and show you. Okay. Earlier, if you wanted to do programming using a computer, you had to set up the computer to do that. But it is not the case now. You can simply use an online tool to do programming. And this is one such actually a website. You can just Google this is Python programming language, so Python online compiler. If you Google it, you will get so many online Python compilers, and then we can straight away code or program our using computer using any of our preferred languages. So today it will be Python programming language. Okay. I hope you can clearly read the letters the screen. Okay, one of the first things that we do using a computer is to store our data. Store the data, any kind of data in any time. For an example, you are students, right? So let's say you want to store few details about you in the computer. Okay, data. Okay, let's take name. You need to store your name. So simply, you can type your name like this. Then let's say age. Okay. You can simply type the age is a number. You can simply type it onto the computer. Let's say you want to store your height. Let's say it's in foot. Okay, 5.5 feet, like this. Okay, then let's say we want to store whether the student or you or me passed the ordinary level or level exam or not. If passed, we can say yes. Simply, if not, we can say no. So I simply type these things into the computer, but if we enter a data into the computer, we should be able to use them at a later time to complete any task that we want. So the first thing we do when we need to store some data in computer is we computer or the programming language provides us a feature called a variable. A variable is, I think you can see what I am drawing. A variable is simply a, let's say this is the computer, okay? This is your computer. A variable is a memory location or container, simply a place to store our data. So I can store my name, like I typed. I can store my age. Okay. Likewise, I can have many containers inside my computer and store any type of data I like. Well, this is the first step in programming. I think you already know a little bit about this. Okay. So to create a variable for memory location, we should first provide a name to it. So previously I typed my name, but to make it a variable or computer to store it actually, then I should give it a name or an identifier. I can say name equals and then my name. Age equals my age. Then height equals my height. And then O level passed or not, yes or no. Okay. So the type of this is the data, but in computer we identify types of data. That means what is the type of this data? What is the type of this data? What is the type of this data? Likewise. So if our data contains alphanumeric characters, we normally say it is a string. Okay, string. So in Python programming language, if you want to store a string, that means something contains characters in the alphabet, we should enclose it in a double quotations. Okay, strings. To store a number, age is a number, right? You know a whole number. So whole numbers are called integers, and we can simply type the number there. These are called, decimal numbers, right? Normally we call them decimal numbers. To store decimal numbers also, we can simply type the number. This data, it only has either yes or no. When we are storing it in computer, we don't store it as yes or no normally. In Python program, we use either true or false. So it has only two values, right? Yes or no. So in computer, we use true or false to yes means true, no means false. We can store one value and we call this value as Boolean value. Boolean. The type of data is Boolean. Okay. So these are few data types that we use in the computer. Okay. This is about the variables. Variable has a name. Then we assign some data that we want to assign. Based on the type of data, we have to represent it according to the syntax or grammar of the programming language. In Python, we have to enclose it in double quotes. This one we have to type true or false correctly with first letter only capital. Okay. After storing data, now we store data. We know how to store data. Okay. After storing data, it is of no use or no point just to store data and wait. So after we store data inside our computer, we should do something with data. Okay, we should perform some task that we need. So one of the first or simplest task that we do is printing or output to the screen what we stored in our variables. Okay, to do that, we have these are the syntax of the Python programming language, or like the grammar. We have to follow them, right? There is a thing called this print and double brackets, normal brackets. And inside that, anything we give, it prints. Let's say I give Lahiru. Wait, this can't be there. I just type for your reference. Okay. Okay, this is the output screen. It just outputted the whatever I gave as the data. We can give any data like this. But in programming, we never give the direct data. What we do is we store the data in a variable and then tell the computer to get the data from this variable or the container inside the computer and print the value inside that computer. So now I run this. Same thing will be output. Okay. If I give age, print the value inside the age variable. Here you see it was print. So that is the first use of the stored data. Okay. But in program, our data. So today we will learn such thing available in the computer, so in the programming world. Okay, before going to that, let's say you want to store the subject you studied for O level. What are the subjects? Let's say your subjects we quickly type science, history. Without comma, let's say normally, and just simply typing. Okay, and science, history, religion. Likewise, there are many subjects that you study in O levels, right? So what do we call this? List of, normally we call this a list of our O level subjects. So let's say now I want to store this list inside the computer. I cannot simply type like this. It will not be correct because the programming language cannot identify if we just type like we type in our human languages, like in English. So to store more than one value, related values or collection of related data, we can use data type called lists in Python. Okay. So it is also very similar. By type, okay, O level subjects equals, now I say maths, comma, science, comma, history, comma. Likewise, I give list of my or your O level subject. Still, it will give an error because according to Python syntax, we have to type these two square brackets and this type of data type is string, right? So string should be inside double row. You can use single quotation also, but I will use double quotes. Okay, this is how we can create a list of related data in programming using the Python programming language. Okay. This came to 2 lines because the screen is split to twice. Okay. Then simply I can print my O level subjects also. See, now the output screen will print my list. So earlier we stored one value at a time in one variable. Now we can store more than one value in a single variable. So this is also a type of data. This type is called list. This is a list in Python. A list in Python. Okay. Likewise, now I can completely store details related to me and get them printed. Okay. I stored my data in variables and I printed them. This topic is list actually, right? So we can print the whole list once. Like we did, we just give the variable name, whatever inside it is printed like as it is. But let's say I want to print only one of these or access one of these subjects only one subject. To do that, the Python programming language provides a print or level subject and type variable name. We have to give it correctly. And we can have this square brackets and inside we can give the position of this data. In lists in Python, the position starts not with 1. This position of data is 0th position. This one is first position. This one is second. This one is 3. So, but remember, it always starts with 0. Okay. So, if I give O level subject 0th position, value of the or data in the 0th position. And if I run this, here you get only maths, right? Now, if I give 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, it should print, or we have access to the only the third value. Okay. So the new thing we learned today is the lists. List is a collection of related data as a list of O level subjects. this is how we write it in Python. And this is how we access the whole list. And this is how we access items inside our list one by one. We normally call these positions index. 0th index, first index, second index, likewise. Index. Okay. So we talked about the lists, and okay, now we know how to store data in lists. Okay, next topic we are going to discuss today is the if and I had the topic if conditions, right? So now we'll see what this if condition mean. Okay. So now the program normally, if you saw code, it ran line by line. Line by line now program ran. First this was printed, second this was printed. You know the sequence. One by one, the lines or the program ran one by one. But not always we should we can run programs line by line. There may be situations that we need to, let's say, just for an example, print these two statements based on some conditions, and or else print these two lines or run these two lines based on some other condition. If these two run, these two will not run. If these two will run, these two will not run. Likewise, we can restrict or limit uh, how our code is run or our program is run. So for such things, we have a structure or a thing in programming called if conditions or if statement. Now we will see what an if statement is. Okay, before studying if, you know these things that you studied in your mathematics, right? In your school, equals. If two things are equals, we call them equals. So you have to remember these symbols. This is what you normally know, equals. If two numbers are, let's say, 2 equals to 2, we use this operator symbols to depict that equals. This one not equals. If one thing is not equals to the other, we can use this symbol to depict that. Okay. Less than, you know this symbol, right? Less than. If something, this one less than this one. Or this one less than this one, or either or this one equals to this one. Then greater than, similarly, greater than or equals. So these are some comparisons, operators or comparison symbols that we are using in mathematics, and we can bring them to programming also. You know these words, right? So to have a condition, normally conditions I said we have to branch our program. Program comes up to this point, line by line. Then I have to branch my program to two ways. To do that, I should have a condition that evaluates to either true or false. Okay, it only have true or false. So to get such a condition, we have to use those comparison operators that I showed you before. Okay, so the structure that helps us to branch our program at this point is the if structure, the if statement in Python programming language. Then we should give it a condition that evaluates to true or false, and based on that we can say if true, run this one, if false, run this or go this path. And then later program can meet at one point and finish or go ahead. Okay, so to do that branching, we use the if condition in programming. We'll take an example, a simple example. Let's say we already stored your age, right? Let's say I am storing a student's age, one of the student's age. And I, based on the number or the value in that age, I want to say whether he is any person, okay, any person's age. Based on the value in the age, I want to say either adult, he is an adult, or he or she is an adult, or a student based on the value of this age. Okay, variable and value. This is a number value or integer value. So we can use the if statement. If we can say age, we never use the value directly. Okay, as I said, we always use the name of the variable. If the value in this in the container or the variable age greater than or equals to, I know how I know the my condition. So if the age is greater than or equals to 80, I want to check that. Then this is the syntax. Okay, we have to have the colon. Otherwise, the Python can't understand. Then let's say then if age greater than or equals to 80, then only I want to say print. I said whatever put inside print, the computer will show on the screen. Person, I just want to print a statement. Person is an adult. Okay. If this becomes true, you know now the program will print person is an adult. But what if it is not? Then okay, for now we will see only I want to print if the age is greater than or equals to 18, then print person is an adult, otherwise the program will simply be over. Okay, the output didn't come as expected. That is because to Python to identify this line to only run if the if statement or and this condition evaluates to true, we have to make it little bit indented or away from the beginning of the line. We call this indentation. Okay, now Python understands, the Python programming language and the computer understands. I should only print this line if this condition becomes true. If this becomes true, then only print this line or run this code. Okay, here nothing printed. Why? Because the age is 17, right? This evaluates to false. Now the age is 17, so what does this evaluate? 17 greater than equals to 18 equals to false. So only if it is true, this is printed. So this doesn't print, program stops. So now I will give a value like 90 and I will run the program. Okay, now you see the output person is an adult was printed because this is true. Okay, up to now I was talking. So do you have any questions or clarifications? So if you have any questions, you can simply unmute and ask. You know, since the beginning of the school and even during the universities, students don't ask questions, but they have doubts, you should unmute or ask questions. Okay. So do you have any questions up to now or any unclear part? Or you didn't understand anything? Is it? Okay. So we'll continue. Okay, what if this becomes false? In this case, if the age is 17, this becomes false, then we can have the second part of this if statement or if condition called else. Else, if this is false, else part we can say then print the person is a student. You see, now we have branched our program because we didn't see this print statement together, right? If we didn't have this if condition branching our program, we should see both print statement because the program run line by line. But with the help of this if condition or if statement or if structure, control structure, we were able to branch our program or uh, make part of our program run if based on a condition. Run set of statements or part of our program based on condition. That is what if statement do. Okay, this is simple example for if statement if else. Okay, now let's go for some other example. Okay, now I want to say, let's say now I want my program to do is if the age is okay greater than or 18, then adult, then I want to print between 5, age 5 and 18, I want to print as a student, or else less than 5. That means from birth to age 4, baby. So can you do it with this one? We can't because age greater than or equals to 18, then adult. But this else part doesn't have a condition to check whether greater than or equals to 5 or between 5 to 18 to print this statement and to print another statement. So if it print thinking, okay, somehow our program will identify person is a lady. You see, both is printed. So for our task, this only if else cannot be used. So for such things, this Python programming language has provided some more features called else if. Okay. If age is greater than or equals to 18, person is an adult. Then again we can check in between or in the middle. Okay, now if this becomes false, we know age is less than 18. But we have to check again whether that age greater than or equals to 5. Else if, that means else if age is greater than or equals to 5, then print person is a student. And we have another else, now we know person is not above 18, not above or equals to 5, then only the person can be a baby, right? Now we will run this first with the value above 18. In Python, else if is we type it in short form as elif. It says else if, but we type that's the syntax of the grammar, right? We type it as elif because it's a shorter, right? But we still understand elif, else if. Okay, now person is an adult. We got the correct result, right? Now I will give a number between 5 and 18 and we will run our program. Okay, we got person is a student. Now we'll give a value between, let's say 1 to 5, 4. Okay, we got the correct output, right? Person is a baby. So here we branch the program into 3 branches, right? Not just 2. With the if and else, we could branch to 2. With else, if we could branch to 3 up to now. So using this elif, we can use elif more than once. If you say you want to have elif in between, check any number teenage or something. You can, I want to say, show you is you can have any elif, any number of elifs based on your criteria and have any number of branches. Like this, okay. So you can have any number of elifs based on your situation to branch the program. So that's basically what elif is, or the if condition or if statement is. Hope you are clear with that. If you have any questions, you can always press okay. Okay, now what is the next structure for the concept you are going to study? The loops. What do you mean by the word loop? Do you get
A roundabout?
sorry, I couldn't hear you properly. Can you repeat?
A roundabout?
Roundabout. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, roundabout. Okay, so something that rotates. Okay. Any other answers? Okay, this loop is something like doing the same thing over again and again, or repeat. Okay, that's the basic idea of the word. Okay. Okay, we can, let's say we take a real world example that someone asks you to shout or say something repeatedly, say the same thing repeatedly. Let's say you have been asked to say, I love Sri Lanka for 60 times. So doing the same thing again, right? You feel pretty boring. So you think, okay, I can write or tell this once and record it and play. You do it only once and you do You record it and then play using some device repeatedly without you manually doing it. Likewise, in programming, let's say for some reason I just want to do that same thing. I love Sri Lanka. I want to do it 60 times. What I have to do? Thanks to the copy and paste, I can copy paste, right? But still it's 60 times, right? So doing the same thing again and again becomes pretty boring to humans. So since we are writing the code, this becomes pretty boring for us also. So to do the same thing over and over again, the programming languages has provided us a feature called or a structure called loops. Okay, there are few different types of loops for different purposes. Okay, for this task, I want to print I love Sri Lanka 60 times on the computer screen, monitor screen. Without it typing, copy and pasting 60 times, I can do is what I can do is I can use a looping structure given in Python called while loop. Okay, while loop to do that task. Okay, while loop, we have to count how many times. So we have to tell the loop we need to do it 60 times. So we have to have some variable. We can name it, let's say, count that tracks the number, how many times that we are doing the work. So normally we start it from 1 and then we type this while this is how we say Python, while the value or this counter less than. Here also we give a condition less than or equals to 60. Then it starts from 1. Okay, we created a variable to store our counter. While counter less than or equals to 60, then print I love Sri Lanka. So for while also, to tell the computer that only do this when this condition becomes true. So while will check this condition and only if this becomes true, then it will print this line or whatever given to it. So to tell that this line is under you, inside you, while we have to indent that. So give some space from the starting line. Still, we are not complete because we have not increase this counter variable. After first time this print is printed, what should we do? We say, okay, we printed once, now we should increase the count. How can we do that? We are telling using the same variable. This counter now get the whatever the value available there. Currently 1, right? 1. Counter equals counter plus 1. This right part is run first. Counter equals 1, then comes to the while, checking this condition. Now counter is 1 here, right? 1 less than or equals to 60. So this becomes true. Then come inside and print I love Sri Lanka. Then we should increase our counter because one time we have done our work. Increasing means normally we add 1. So now counter value is still 1. 1 plus 1 equals 2. And 2 is now assigned to the same counter variable or the same container. Now the counter holds 2 in the background. We cannot see it, but the counter holds 2 in the background. Okay. After this step, you might think, okay, computer will come here, so there are no any lines, so the program will stop. But it is not how it is happen. After coming to the end of whatever the things inside the while, again, it comes here. The program comes here. Then again check the same thing condition. Now counter is 2, right? We saw it is 2. So still this becomes 2 and then again come here. So this same process is repeated. Counter variable is increased one by one until counter becomes 61. Let's say at some point counter becomes 61. Now this becomes false, right? 61 less than is false equals also false. Then the while will not come inside, it will directly come to the outside of the while loop. So there are any lines, so program will stop. Now we will run this. See. Okay. 60 times it is printed. So if we want to get the count, we can even print the counter variable inside the print statement. So inside the print statement, we can separate the data by comma. So counter, get the value from the counter, print. You see, now 60 times it is printed. Now you can see each time the counter variable has increased by 1. Increased by 1, we call it incrementing also. So this is one basic purpose of a loop structure to run the same set of code or same task, do the same task repeatedly up to some end. Okay. Then there is another loop structure in Python that is called for loop. Okay. This is the while loop. I will delete that. There is another loop structure called for loop. We see how for loop can be used. I'll take the previous example that we did. This one is all-level subjects. We had 5 subjects in the list, and we were able to print the whole list, and also one item by item. That also becomes pretty boring, right? Let's say I have not just 5, 10. We have only 10, but so I get bored if I want to do it using the way that we already know, by using the index or the position. First time, second time, third time, fourth time, and 0, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got the output as we want, but this will also become difficult if the list is long, large.
Mama, mũndũ wako atĩ package nĩ yakinya atĩ maramwĩra makaigua atĩ thimũ ĩrĩ off.
It's unmuted accident, right? Okay, so this becomes also pretty boring. So we can use this whole loop in Python to iterate. We call it iterate over a list. Go item by item inside the list and to print each item or element. For this is the syntax or the grammar. We have to type like this. Okay, for then, okay, for we should give here a variable name to hold this each value. That's the way we have to do. For subject in, then we should give all the subjects our list name. Then this column is part of the syntax. What does this line say? go to the O-level subjects list or the variable, and it contains a list. We already know that. Then take one by one each loop or each iteration of your for loop and hold that value, each value in the subject variable, and then do whatever that is inside your for loop. Now, let's say for the first time this is run. So all our subjects maths is stored here. Then if we say print subject, maths is stored in the subject variable, a new variable to hold each item. Subject will be whatever the value in the subject will be printed. Okay, maths printed. Then after it is over, like the while loop, it again comes here and go to the list, and if any more elements remaining, it is assigned. First is assigned, it is printed, then come back. The second is assigned, then it is printed, then again come, then it is printed. Likewise, until the end of the list, this for loop automatically go through the list and gets or access each element, and we can then do whatever we want with that each element. Here I have printed. Okay. So this is one of the basic usages of for loop in Python. Iterating over lists or going through lists. Those lists can be way larger than this. Okay. Okay, another way to use for loop is for that same purpose we used to print I love Sri Lanka. Here, this syntax you can remember this variable counter, and this is a special or inbuilt thing. This thing given by Python, we can type give me a range and brackets. What this do is starting from 0, this gives 5 values. This is also like a list. This range function gives a list, so you can understand right better. Let's say range is a list, but we don't need to manually type this. It's the same thing that we did before. Okay, or we can print the Sri Lanka. So list is assigned each element, and we can access the each element. That's what we learned in the code. Okay, so without we manually doing this, we can simply say, give me a range from range up to 6. So 0 to 5, listed numbers 0 to 5 is created, and in each iteration, the for loop is run. That is given here. So without the while loop, you can use the for loop for that same purpose. If you use this inbuilt thing or the thing the Python or the computer has already given us to get a list of numbers starting from 0. Then earlier we entered counter 1 to 6. So we can do that counter equals counter plus 1. Then 0 comes here. 0 plus 1, 1 is assigned to the counter. So 1 is printed here for the first time. Second time, 1 is assigned here. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 is assigned here. 2 is printed. Likewise, for that same purpose, we use the while loop. We can use the for loop using this range we call them a function, but you don't know that word yet. This range feature by saying the range feature. Okay, those are some usages of for loop in Python. Okay, now we learn the structures, right? If for the concept, repetition, conditional, and the lists and the variables. Now we will see one little use of these structures to solve a real world problem. Normally we use computers to solve problems or do tasks. Let's say you get grades in school for your marks, right? Let's say you scored, this is how I remember, you get grades like this, right, for your subjects. Normally, yeah, this may be wrong, but you get a grade A if your mark is greater than or equal to 75. Let's say B is given if your mark is 55 or above, 45 or above. Likewise, this grade is determined based on your mark, your score for one subject. So let's say you don't want to do it manually and you want to automate it. You just give the mark you received for your one of your subjects, let's say mathematics or science. Now I want computer to determine my grade without I am manually using my brain determining the grade. I give that task to my computer. To do that, I have to write the program using one of the programming languages. In our case, we use Python. So we will try that simple program to achieve this task. Okay. First, I need a variable to store the mark. And I give whatever the mark. Let's say you have a few friends, you want each of them their marks to be graded, but you can give one by one. First, you say your mark for mathematics subject is 56, and you want a computer to determine the grade. To do that, this is where the your thinking or logical thinking comes. You need to identify how can I solve this programmatically. What are the things available in the programming language to do this programmatically? So, with the practice or with the knowledge, you can think, I can use a if else structure or statement to do this. If I can check from the beginning, if mark, the same thing I can do. If mark greater than or equals to 75, print A. The same thing, I am applying the same logic. L, because I cannot simply say else, right? I have so many other conditions to check. L if mark. Now I know it is not greater than or equal to 75, so it should be below 75, but I want to check again whether it is greater than or equals to 55. If it is so, I know the mark is between 75 and 55, 74 and 55. Print B. Again, I have to check in between. I cannot simply say else. Else if mark greater than or equals to, now our logic or the scenario, the task say greater than or equals to 45, then grade should be C. Again, I cannot have else because again in between I need to check this also. L if mark greater than or equals to 35. I want the program to print S. Now we have come to the last condition. By now we know the mark, we are checking from the top. So now we know the mark should be below 35 because it is been checked up to this point. So we know we don't need to have a if for the last condition because we know definitely this mark is below 35 by now. So we don't need to check it again. We can simply say else print this script. Okay. Now we will run this program. We have to remove this. This is our program. Okay, I have the mark 56. Okay, I wanted to print if the based on our criteria greater than or equal to 55, our mark. Then I want to print B, right, between 55 to 75. So it has printed correctly, right? Right, guys. Now you can give your other subjects or your friend's subjects marks and check it, check the grade by using the computer. Okay. Can give any mark. Run the program. So it will determine the grade. What do you see? We found a task or problem that we needed to automate. So we used a programming language to ask the computer to do that task. We have to follow the syntax of that programming language. The other words, grammar rules of the programming language. Okay, that's why I had to have this colon, right? Because those are the syntax. Otherwise, the program will not run. The computer cannot run it. It doesn't understand. Okay, this is one simple example using elif. And if we go to one more quick example, let's say, now you not only want to get the grade for 1 mark during normally at the end of your terms, right? If I remember, your let's say you added, right? Let's say you score 56, 78. Likewise for your various subjects, they are added and then divided by the number of subjects and the average is taken. Let's say that is done. Mark for all of your subjects in a term is taken and the average is taken. Average means total of your marks divided by the number of subjects. And then based on that, your grade is, or your grade is defined, or whether you are good to average or a weak student is determined. Let's say that's the task your teacher want to perform or you want to do. So to do that, let's say we can use a list to have your marks. Mathematics, science, religion, history, likewise ICT. You have entered your marks in a list because we know list, right? Then first thing you do is, next thing you do is, you need to add this, right? The marks to get the total. Okay. How can we do that using the knowledge we have in Python so far? Okay, so I should remember I can use for loop to iterate over this list. And I know to add the value to an existing variable. So I will try that way. For mark, 1 mark is taken from this marks list 1 by 1. Then I want to add, let's say total. Total equals whatever the value available in total plus this mark each time. So at the beginning, total should be 0, right? At the beginning, total should be 0. Then we take each mark by mark using the for loop, and we add on top of that cumulative addition. First time, total is 0. Mark is the first mark, 54. 0 plus 54 is assigned to total. Now total becomes 54 in the background. We don't see it. Then the second iteration of the loop comes. Now mark is 34. So next time 54 plus 34 is added. 50, 60, 70, 80, 80, 88. Total becomes 88. The next iteration, 67 is added to 88. Likewise, we can identify the logic and code it in the programming language. Starting the 0, then for loop comes here, and it iterates until the end of the list. So total gets added. Now at the end of the for loop, after the for loop or the list ended, for loop ends, then outside, not inside the for loop, we can print the total and see whether the correct number is come. $514 has come. If you add it, this should add to 540. You see, I gave only the marks and use the for loop and other variables and operators in programming language to get the total. Now I have the total with me in this total variable for the content. Then still I need to do one more step, right? I say we need to get the average. Average means sum or total divided by the number of subjects. That means total get by here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 subjects. You know mathematics, you can simply do that. Average. You can create another container variable to store the average equals. Simply say get the value from the total container of the variable and divide by 10 subjects. Now the computer should do the mathematical calculation and the value should be stored in this average variable. Now I can see it by printing the value in the average variable of the container. Okay, you know, right? 514 divided by 10, it should be one decimal place to the left, 51.4. So this calculation also correct, right? Now I can use the same program created by me. We were here, right? Printing the average. Now I can use the same program created by me or us before and replace this mark. Sorry, we don't need to give. And we have the average, and now here without mark, now we can give the average to check the overall performance. We have the average here, right? I say based on the average, now grade is given, not for just one subject, average of the 10 subject. Now we have overall performance. Your overall performance is also, let's say for now, graded like this. Okay, right? 51.4 is between 45 to 55. So you get C, right? Above 55B or equals, so above 45, C. You see that based on our task, we can combinedly use these structures. If else we used, for loop we used, list we used, and other things you learned before used. So this way, with the practice, you should be able to use the tools available in the programming language to write your task or write your program to get the desired outcome. Okay. Now if you want to change this to good, best, or whatever, you can do that, right? You know, can change. You see, that's how we use whatever the features available in the programming language and these concepts. If we used for branching or divide the program based on a condition. For loop or loops, we can use to iterate over list or to do the same task again and again, over and over. And list to store more than one value in a variable. Okay, so these were the topics that we wanted to discuss today. So that is so we have come to the end. If you have any questions, you can ask now.
Excuse me.
Yes.
If you want to calculate the grade for each and every mark, I mean, not like the average of the marks, but for each and every mark, what kind of method should you use?
Okay, that means you want to have both
Yes.
separate grade for each of these marks.
Yes.
Okay, so we let's think. Okay, this 54 comes to the for loop here. So here what we did was we just got the total. But in this case, in your case, now we need to get the whole thing. That means this total, we can remove total. We don't need total anymore. This is because we want the grade separate. We will remove the total first and it's clarified. We don't need the, okay, we don't need the average. What we need is for each mark, get the grade. So average without average, I will replace it again with the mark. A, this one, B, this one, C, this one. Yes. This is just a, I was typing the same thing. Okay. So now let's say without having this outside, what if we move it inside? Moving it inside means indenting here. So one more indent we have to give to tell normal how this is structured. While it was copying the structure and okay. The same thing that was outside, I copied inside. Inside means to in Python we indent. Now Python no in. Now we will run this and see. Okay. Did you get what you want?
Yes. Thank you very much.
That's the way. If it is first difficult to code, you draw the problem. Like whatever you way you understand, then try to restructure the program or write it again. Okay, right?
All right. Okay.
Good question. Anyone else have any questions? What we learned today? Yes, okay. It seems you don't have any questions. So we have come to the end of the session. As I said, you can simply use an online compiler and do your coding practices. Python is one of the easiest language to learn because it is like reading a human language. So practice and familiarize yourself with coding. Okay, so that's the end of the session. Thank you.
Yeah, a big thank you to Mr. Lahiru Fernando for sharing his valuable insights and expertise with us. Your session has provided us with a solid foundation in MindForge, and we are grateful to your contribution to our program. And now, as we wrap up today's webinar, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all the students who participated. Your enthusiasm and engagement have made this event a success, and we look forward to seeing you at future events too. So thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you again, Mr. Lahiru.